अस्वात्पजनमानवे न कांक्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामस्ते काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च तयि देव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्या पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहाः मातुला श्वशुरा पौत्राः शाला सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि न तोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नु महीकृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिस्याजनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् तस्मैतान्नासदाहिनः तस्मान्नाथा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं निकटं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्यप्येते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं निःस्पृहे च पातकं कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्माभिवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत.
When the situations of life, when the events of life is seen from a personal angle, it turns into a crisis. Arjuna saw the situation, the war, the battlefield from a personal angle, and the war became a crisis. And now he is asking, how do I handle the crisis? What he didn't understand is, a situation has turned into a crisis because of what? Because of him having personalized it. That's all. So there is no crisis as such. Your personalization turns the situation into a crisis. After you have personalized it, after you are in a crisis, if you analyze, you will be analyzing like what Arjuna is doing. Because you are already personalized it. You are already into a crisis. And any analysis after that would be like the analysis of what Arjuna is doing. He thought he is analyzing it very clearly. He is only talking. That's all. Almost blabbering. That's all. Yeah, almost blabbering. So, the crisis is a personalization of a situation. Crisis is a personalization of a situation. What is personalizing a situation? personalizing a situation depends upon the number of attachments that you have. That's all. Supposing if you have, supposing let us say, argument's sake, you have 25 children, and that 25 children will have so many families, and what all happens there? What all happens you get? You get affected because you have already said it as mine. Supposing you have only 4 children, what happens? Supposing if you have only one child, one child, no child at all, sir, is another type of problem. That's another kind of crisis where I don't have a. Therefore, a crisis is nothing but situations that you have personalized. The moment you personalize it, the moment you personalize a situation, it turns into a crisis. After getting into a crisis, don't analyze, don't do anything, because everyone, when I say everyone, most of the people comes in contact with the knowledge after getting into a not ordinary crisis. Not ordinary crisis. A man is in the ICCU, I don't know what all. And the only question they will ask is, sir, what do I do now? What do I do now? Do I remove the will I remove the plug or not? That is the only time they come in contact with the knowledge. At that point of time, knowledge says, to that person, knowledge will say, you do what you like. You want to keep the plug, you keep the plug. You want to remove it, you. After a situation has turned into a crisis, what is it that you can do which is impossible to do? What is it that you can do? What is it that you can do? You can't say, let me face it cheerfully. Because for a cheerful person, there is no crisis in the first place. There is no crisis and then cheerfully facing. Because cheerfully facing a crisis, you yourself at some point of time will start feeling it's a very selfish way of looking at it, sir. When there is a crisis, when people are really suffering, how can I face it cheerfully? Yeah. Therefore, be cheerful will not help. As a statement, it might look very very correct. But when you are in a crisis, and when somebody deals with your crisis in a very cheerful way, how will you feel? Cheerful way, now what is cheerful way? It has no meaning. Literally it has nothing. Why are you making a big thing out of nothing? That's a cheerful way of handling it. And in that crisis, if it is dealt like this, you feel like saying, don't you have a heart? Can't you deal with it in a more compassionate way? What is compassionate way means? Agree with you. Compassionate way means agree with you. See, agreement with you means you want life to agree with you, personalizing the situation and function accordingly. Compassion means that according to you. Again I repeat, according to you, compassion means what? You have personalized something and the whole world must agree and accept and do things accordingly. That you will call as compassionate. The person says, no, you shouldn't do like that. Now you will say, don't you have any compassion? Yeah. So, after getting into a crisis, what is it that you can do? The moment you are in a crisis, what is it that you can do? That's what Arjuna is asking. What should I? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And when he is asking what should I do, he is not asking what should I do. He is telling Krishna what he should tell him. So many arguments he is giving because he wants Krishna to tell him what? What Arjuna wants to hear. In the sense, he is already predetermined. He is already clear. He is already concluded. And he wants someone to endorse it. Somebody to endorse it and say, correct. I am also with you. When someone says, I am also with you, that much conviction you get. What? That you are doing the right thing. And if 10 people says, I am with you, much more conviction. Therefore, when you are in a crisis, what is it that you can do? House is on fire. What is it that you can do? When a house is on fire, what is it that you can do? If you are so attached to the house, you can stay inside the house and get burnt. That's also one way of dealing. Vedanta is not saying it's right or wrong. One way of dealing it is, I can't leave this. I can't leave this house of mine. I will die, but I will not leave that's also one way of dealing. So, stay with the house and you can get burnt. That is one way of dealing with that. Another way of dealing with it is what? Running away. Run away. Run away. Save as much as you can. First save. First save yourself. First save yourself. Running away. That's what people do. Escape. Correct. Running away, sir. That's the ideal way. Escape. Either stay inside and get burnt or escape. Run away. Either way, what continues? Either way, what continues? The capacity in you to create crisis continues. Because wherever you go, you will create a crisis. Because the crisis, the capacity to turn a situation into a crisis is inside of you. The ability to turn a very ordinary situation into a crisis. The ability to turn a useless thing into a life-threatening situation. That capacity is inside you. What you need to do? Now Krishna says, which is far more difficult. And yet, you learn it with one, you learn a lesson for many, many lives to come also. What? Stay inside of it and understand. And do it. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Don't run away from the battle. Stay inside the battle. Stay in the battle. One way is escape. Another way is blindfolded, get into battle and die. That's what Duryodhana is doing. Blindfolded, they are getting into battle. He is very clear. If I win, I enjoy the kingdom. If I die, I go to. He is blindfolded, getting into. So wherever he go, he will create another Mahabharata he will start. Wherever he go, he will create another Mahabharata. He will start another. Now, what is the way to handle it? First thing is, if you see something as a crisis, first thing you do is Huh? Stay with it. Yes. Crisis. Just swallow that first. And stay quiet for 1 week. Yo, too much, sir. 1 week Allah? 1 week Allah too much. Because you want the answer? Not the answer. You want the solution immediately. What is solution according to you? According to you, what is the solution? According to you, what is the solution? Your condition must be fulfilled. It's a solution. You follow what I am saying? At your level, you do not know what a solution is. Therefore, at least what you should do? At least that much arrogance you should not have to say, this is the solution. Because according to you, not according to you, at your level, you cannot know what the solution is. Because if you know what the solution is, the situation will not turn into a crisis in the first place. The very fact that it has turned into a crisis means it is above your penetrating capacity. It's above your penetrating capacity. There what you do? You go to someone who has that penetrating capacity. He tells you that. What will you do? What will you do? You will say, I went to him, but he didn't understand my problem. Sir, I went. But that man didn't understand my problem. It's not that he didn't understand your problem. He would have told you what? He would have told you? He would have told you something which you didn't like to hear. He would have told you something which you don't want to hear. That's all. Therefore, wherever you go, you will keep creating crisis. Situations you don't create. Crisis is your creation. Understand the difference. Life creates situations. Situations you don't create. Crisis is your creation. Vedanta doesn't say situations you create. Vedanta says crisis is your creation. Summer is a situation which you don't create. It's there. Now, you turning it into a crisis or not is in your hands. Are you able to follow? Summer, the heat of 45 degrees is not your creation. Clear? Thank God nobody asks you how to create anything. If you are asked how to create anything, it will be a chaos. Why? What makes you turn a situation into a crisis is because of the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem is you think you know what you want. The problem is you don't know what you want. You think you know what you want. At every stage you are very clear as to what you want. The person is so convinced that I want to get married. Same person 6 months later is so convinced that he wants to get divorced. If you have the clarity of knowing what you want, you will never get into a crisis. You will not create a crisis. Situations are there. What is the situation? 40 children grouped together in a classroom is a situation. Correct? 40 children are just, when you start making application to a school, you have no clue to who the others are going to be. You just 40 people are grouped together into 40 human beings are grouped into a classroom, and then they develop what? Friendship. Yeah. And then they develop what is known as friendship. From that friendship, there is something called best friend. Clear? The moment you say someone as your best friend, it's a question of time. That fellow is going to turn bitter enemy. Yeah, best friend alone has the potential to turn into a bitter enemy. Ordinary friend, ordinary enemy. No friend, no enemy. Just group together. You develop a association. You develop a friendship, and then it continues. I don't know why I got into this classroom, sir. Maybe past janmas, bad karma, that I got into this classroom. Why only these people? You can argue. You can argue. But what is the situation? What is the fact? What is the reality? 40 people got bunched together. Yeah. Nowadays what they do is, every year they keep shuffling. Yeah. I don't think it was there about 15-20 years back. I don't think that was the practice, because I remember same classroom, same friends from first standard to first standard. They don't even change. So they say, hey, we are very close friends. What very close friends? We just got grouped together, and then we developed a association. What is that association? What is that association? What is that association? Started calling some as mine. Started calling some as, that's all. The moment you start, the starting point of that is saying something as mine. That's all. After that, you don't have to do anything. Crisis after crisis will come. Crisis after crisis will come. All the knowledge that you have, all the wisdom that you have doesn't help you after that, because you have already personalized it. You have already personalized it. What is personalizing means? What is personalizing means? Mine. Number one. Number two, personalizing means putting conditions. Putting conditions. Example: all beings are mortal. Who doesn't understand that? Who doesn't understand that? Everyone understands. No, all beings are mortal means what? Means everyone is going to die. But at least as long as I am alive, yeah. What is putting condition now? The first condition that I put is, my child should outlive me. That's a condition I put. As a result of this condition, even if she gets a common cold, it turns into a crisis. Are you able to follow? I am not saying don't attend to the cold. Vedanta is not saying when the child catches a cold, ignore that. How a very normal situation turns into a crisis. What is the crisis? Second thing is you put conditions. What is the condition? Everyone will die, sir. But then my child should outlive me. The child goes out, comes 10 minutes late, it will turn into a crisis. A child goes out, comes 10 minutes late, turns into a crisis. That's where when the child is 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, you have to think what? The mother necessarily thinks what? What will the mother think? Something terrible must have happened. Maybe she would have fallen, or maybe met with an accident, maybe this, maybe that. The mother cannot say what? She is having good fun time with the friends. Let the child come another 15 minutes late. No, you cannot say that. You have to necessarily say what? That 15 minutes late has turned into a crisis. What is the crisis? Even before the child enters the house, the volcano erupts. Yeah. The child looks at you and says, haven't you ever come late from your school? Because you only told the child yesterday with a lot of pride, what? When I go to school, I never felt like coming home. Yeah, you only said with pride. Yes, that's why you don't know what to say, what not to. You say, I never like to come home. I always want to be with my friends playing. You know how much we used to play? You tell the child. And the child does the same thing tomorrow. 5 minutes late. What happens? Turns into a crisis. You understand? You have to necessarily think what? Some tragedy should have. You follow what I am saying? Second thing, how do you personalize? By putting conditions. First is mind. The moment you say mind, that's the real thing. Rest of the things are all more of a further explanation. Second thing is putting conditions. And life says, I accommodate everyone, but do not cater to anyone in particular. Take it or leave it. Life accommodates. Life accommodates everything, but cannot cater to anyone in particular. But the problem is what? Crisis means you are not catered to in what all areas you are not catered to in particular. Those situations you call it as correct? Those situations you call it as crisis. Again I repeat, remember, situations are not your creation. Situations exist. In the flow of life, situations happen, situations exist. They are not your creation. What is your creation? Crisis is your creation. Yeah. Supposing you go on a North India tour, where you go, they will give all the things there is made of. What is that oil? Mustard oil. Correct, mustard oil. Can't even stand that. Just as when they come here, they can't stand the smell. Yeah. When I go to my in-laws' place, when they start cooking, I leave the house. After half an hour later, I Because they cook in coconut. And for me coconut oil is like two crisis. Yeah. I can't go there and pick up a fight with them and say, why are you doing this? What I should do? That much I can do. No, I have come, change and do this na kada. It turns into a crisis. Clear? You follow what I am saying? You put conditions. Third is, crisis is a situation when your expectations are not met. When your expectations are not met, that you call it as a crisis. The law of life is expectations. It will not be met. By the law, he says, Ramatirtha says, by the law it's proven again and again and again, but you will not learn a lesson, he says. By the law, the law is proven again and again and again. What? Expectations will not be met. And you want expectations. And you have. And you say, expectation illama eppadi. So to that extent you have expectations, to that extent you have to face crisis. At least have that much courage to say, since I have expectations, I will be facing crisis. At least have that courage to say. But then you will say, no, I will have attachments, I will have expectations, everyone must cater to me, but crisis should not happen. But crisis should not happen. And when that crisis happens, what will you talk? That's what Arjuna is talking. What he thinks as a very logical sequence. What he thinks as a very logical sequence. Face it cheerfully. Others' crisis you can face cheerfully. Your crisis you can't face cheerfully. Yeah. Others' crisis you can face cheerfully. But your crisis, so the moment seriousness comes into life, you have moved away from the truth. The moment seriousness, sorrow, suffering comes into life, it means you have moved away from the truth. That's all. This is the law. When do you become serious? Affected. Serious means getting affected. So serious about everything. This is the moment from seriousness to humor, seriousness to laughter. That is the movement from materialism to spirituality. The movement from the material life to a spiritual life is the movement of being serious to being cheerful, laughter. Because for a person who has no mindness, for a person who has no expectations, what situation can turn him serious? No situation can turn him serious. When Alexander came, Alexander the Great, Aristotle was his teacher. Aristotle was the teacher of Alexander the Great. So Aristotle said, you go to India you take the diamonds and gold and get me one wife. And because in that country, lot of, we have heard, every street corner you will find these people. Yeah. I would have told Aristotle, come to Sunday morning class. Yeah, and take the whole lot also. Yeah, so many wise people we have. Yeah, so many wise people we have here. He said, bring one wife. Alexander said, okay. He came, he conquered. As he was leaving the country, his secretary said, you told me to remind, no, that your guru wanted one wife. Man, correct. He himself is, yeah, why he want, okay, get me one wife person. He said there are lots of wise people around, and as they were walking they saw this man lying down on the river banks. Sand. He is lying down, enjoying the sunlight. The soldiers came and said, Alexander is calling you. He said, who's Alexander? World emperor. He said, I am his emperor. See, in this country we are used to this language for thousands of years. So we will not react to this language. We know how to ignore this. We know how to ignore these people. For them, they are hearing it. How can, same thing happen? No. Jesus Christ said, I am Caesar. First time when they heard that language, they could not react. Here we say, I am Brahman. You say, correct sir. People keep saying this. They have heard, maybe our lectures quite wonderful. He is also saying, I am Brahman. We don't react. Caesar. He said, no, that man is talking something vague. You want a wise man, and that man looks like insane man. So, do you want him? Alexander said, okay, I will come and check. Alexander came. He said, come with me. He said, where? Come to Greece. Greece is in me. Fourth chapter, Krishna is also talking the same language. I gave this knowledge to Ikshvaku. I gave this knowledge before Ikshvaku was me. It's like saying Greece is in me. Alexander said, see, all this wise talk you talk with Aristotle. Don't talk to me. He took the sword out. He touched the sword and said, very nice sword you have. Keep it. First time Alexander saw someone who is not afraid of the sword. Put the sword right here and said, if you don't come, your head will roll on the ground. He said, I have never seen my head rolling on the ground. I also like to see it. Alexander says, looking at this man, I got frightened, he writes. I got frightened. Because, what can you do to that man who said, I also like to see my head rolling? What crisis he will have in his life? That man will not have any crisis at all. In our case, crisis after crisis. Summer brings one kind of crisis, winter brings another kind of crisis. Not having children brings one kind of crisis, having children brings many crises, another kind of crisis. Not getting married is one kind of crisis, after marriage it is another kind of crisis. If Living is a crisis. Not dying becomes a... There are people, for them, not dying is a crisis. They say, when will I? When will I die? When will I? Because not dying has turned into a crisis. Therefore, life only offers situations. That's all. It's a constant moving, changing situations. Life offers situations. And what is the nature of those situations? Two things. Unpredictable, ever changing. Full stop. Life offers situations. And what is the nature of that situation? What is it like? Number one, it is unpredictable. Number two, it is changing. What you call as crisis is nothing but these two factors. What you call as crisis is nothing but these two. Nothing but these two. How do you understand how you turn a situation into a crisis? How do you turn a situation into a crisis? The solution will differ from crisis to crisis, situation to situation. But nevertheless, a situation is what turns into a... Why it is crisis? Because it is unique only to you, not to the others. It's unique only to you, but not to others. That itself is enough proof that it is your creation. Having gotten into a crisis, how you will start analyzing the crisis? Having gotten into a crisis, how would you analyze the crisis? The entire chapter 1, the entire discourse of Arjuna to Krishna is nothing but an analysis of a man who has converted a situation into a crisis. Verse number 32, he said, I had no interest in kingdom. If he had no interest, he should stay quiet. No, immediately, 33 and 34, he says, he was lamenting that I would not be able to share First he said, I have no interest. I have no interest in the kingdom, nor do I have any interest in the enjoyment that's going to arise out of winning the war. Immediately 33, 34, he continues lamenting. What? Krishna. But who will be there when I go back? Nobody will be there to enjoy it along with me. No. Then what is the use of this victory? Because victory is to enjoy it with relatives and friends. Yeah, appada victory has a meaning. Yeah, you win something, you go back, there is no one there, that victory has no. Yeah. In fact, you want to win for what? Yeah. You win and there is no one to listen to. See, you have achieved something and there is no one to listen to your achievement. You will get so. You will get so. Just as you buy a new car and take the car to the office. Nobody mentions about it to you. Nobody mentions. Nobody even sees it. Nobody even mentions, oh, you got a new car. Nobody say, oh, you got a new car. Then you have to say, no, it's no big deal. Yeah. First he has to say, wow. And you will say, big car. I'm going to Vedanta classes for so long. Car and all doesn't make any. Supposing no one has ever, no one noticed it, no one saw that, no one appreciated it, you come back that person will come back slightly dejected. Why? Next class, the question. What makes people turn blind, sir? Question. What makes people turn blind? It means what? You bought something, nobody? The lady wears a new sari and goes, no one sees it, no one, it looks new now, you will feel? Now first he is saying, I have no interest in the kingdom. Then he is lamenting. What? There will not be anyone to share. In the three worlds. Immediately he goes on to the next verse, which is where we left last. He claims a state of renunciation. What is the renunciation? In the three worlds of Madhusudana, I am not interested in. Three worlds means whatever interpretation you want to give, you give, doesn't matter. That is not the point here. The point is, even for being the emperor of all the three worlds, I am not. These I do not wish to kill. Carefully follow now. These, verse number 35, idu pona varame mudichitom. These I do not wish to kill, though killed by them. Let them kill me, Krishna, but I will not kill them. He is ready to make that ultimate sacrifice of saying, let them do whatever. Next verse, in 36, immediately he calls them desperados. What pleasure is there in slaying the sons of Dhritarashtra, O Janardana? Sin alone will accrue to us by killing these desperados. Desperados na? Previous verse, he said, let them kill me. I will not kill them. Now he is calling them desperados. Atatayinah. Desperado means he says one who intends to do harm to you, one who is approaching you with the intention of harming, one who approaches you with the intention of harming you, what you should do? Kill them, because he is coming with the intention of harming you. If you can say, okay, you slap in that right cheek, no, now slap in the left cheek also and go back smiling, now you will not have a problem, because for that man there is no desperado at all. Who is a desperado? A person coming with an intention to hurt. What you should do? Without hesitation. Now he is saying, previous verse he said, let them kill me. Who are those? Very vicious people, Krishna. Who are those people? Very Very vicious. But then, I am ready to get killed. I think. And you also will think, oh, what a fantastic sacrifices Arjuna is. Sin alone will come to us by killing these desperados. Sin will not come to you if you kill the desperado. That's the law. Sin will not come to you. You understand that? You fall sick. You are taking medicines. When you fall sick, you are taking medicines, no? When you fall sick, what has happened? It's the desperados attacking you. Understand it like that. They are attacking They are attacking what? They are attacking. Now what you have to do? What you have to do? You have to take medicines. When you are taking medicines, what are you doing? Killing. That's all. Will sin accrue to you? That's all you say. Example working, it's okay, sir. Yeah, sin, it is okay. Mosquito comes and sits on you. Not affectionately, no? What will you do? You will not tell the mosquito, okay, go and bring your entire clan and have a good feast. Desperado, you understand that? Sin will not accrue to you when you are with the intention of hurting, harming. The commentary he says, two Smritis he quotes. One is Manu Smriti, another is Vasishta Smriti. Vasishta Smriti is written by Vasishta. Smriti means code of conduct. That's all. Smriti means code of conduct. And every master has their own codes of conduct. Manu Smriti means code of conduct according to Manu. Vasishta Smriti means code of conduct according to Vasishta. Ganesh Smriti na code of conduct according to not that he is Manu or Vasishta. Everyone has their own code of conduct. That's all. So these great men who has a deeper understanding of life. What is the deeper understanding of life? What actions produces sin? What action will produce sin? According to Arjuna, he is thinking killing by itself is sinful. If killing by itself is sinful, you should not even take medicines. You should not take. When sickness comes, please enjoy, because they are having a please no. So will sin accrue to you if you take medicine? No, sir, that is different. Anga only, it is survival. Here it is sin. Survival is different for different. You understand that? Those who have a deeper understanding of life, those who have gone beyond the phenomenon of life, they are fit to lay the code of conduct. Who's fit to lay the code of conduct? Those who have transcended that, those who have gone above that. That's where the teacher has to give the code of conduct in the class. The students themselves cannot fix, no. You tell the students, we give you full freedom. You set your code of conduct. Now what will they say? First code of conduct, teacher, get out. Yeah, first code of conduct is what? Teacher should go out. You go to the organization, the fellow on top has to set the code of conduct for the lower. You give the freedom to the lower and say you set the code of conduct. Na? First thing they will say, what? When freedom is given to the lower, first thing it will do is to eject the higher. That's where it is. That's where code of conduct, you can't allow anyone to write a code of conduct. If you allow each and everyone to write a code of conduct, what will happen? If you give freedom to the lower, first thing it will do is what? Is to eject the higher. Now these great masters, Vasishtha, Manu, there are Yajnavalkya also has a smriti. Vasishtha also has a smriti. There is a smriti in the name of Janaka also. Meaning, these people who have transcended that has the right to give a code of. What you have to do? You have to, first thing is to, what you need to do first? First you need to, first you need to obey. Obey and then ask questions. That is okay. You ask questions only to change the rule. You ask questions only to change the rule. And the wise one says, whatever questions you ask, the rules will not. You can ask whatever you want. The rules will not change, because you question. First thing is what? Code of conduct. When the code of conduct is given, first thing what you do? First thing is to obey first, and then ask questions, and then do whatever. First is to, because in that obedience you are qualified for freedom. In that obedience you are qualified for freedom. Are you able to follow? Straight away becoming a rebel, it's just becoming, straight away saying I will not obey, is not wanting freedom, is just living an indisciplined life. You follow the difference? First thing is you need to obey. In that obedience you develop a maturity for freedom, because freedom is a tremendous responsibility and you should be mature enough to handle it. Freedom cannot be given to those who cannot handle it. Wealth cannot be given to those who will not know how to handle it. Knowledge cannot be given to those who cannot. That's where here they say you need adhikaris. They say qualified people. You need to be a adhikari to receive knowledge also, because if it is given you will not know how to handle it. That's where certain knowledges are hidden, secret. Not that it is a secret, it can be spoken of, but you will not know how to handle it, meaning you will use it to suit your selfishness. What in the Bible he says as devil quoting the you quote you follow what I am saying? And that's why he is quoting two smritis. According to what Manu says, according to what Vasishtha says. In the commentary if you read, he quotes Manu and he quotes Vasishtha to define that sin will not accrue by killing the desperados. What incurs sin? What brings sin? If he has actually understood them as desperados, he will not use the word sin. The very fact that he is using the word sin means he has not understood what a desperado is. It's like saying taking medicine is also killing. Because you are killing, no. Correct? Yeah. Deworming you are taking. Now what are you killing? What are you? Deworming you take. Badri. What are you killing? So the choice is you have to live or the worm has to live. Between the two, yes, you had something. Yes. Yes, because very rarely you find anyone coming with an intention to harm. Even though they do not know that they are having the intention, they still intend. There is a difference. See, when you say intention, it's not a conscious awareness with which I deliberately plan and scheme and come and harm. It's not that. That is not intention. He intends to harm and he himself is not aware of it. But the very fact that he himself is not aware of it will not make him not a desperado. He himself is not aware. But he is not aware, no, that is his problem. He is not aware, that is, but then there is therefore, there is an action which creates harm. And action is always backed by an intention. He is not aware of it. He is not aware of it. Those who have gone above life, those who have a deeper understanding of life, they say, what? Ignorance is not an excuse. That's all. Ignorance is not an excuse. So, when we use the word intention, it means that there is a deliberate, conscious scheming and planning. Most of the desperados are not like that. They don't even know it. But you knowing it, what you have to do? You knowing it, you have to eliminate. Now when you eliminate them with love. Oh, no, that's all he is saying. Eliminate, but eliminate them with love. Kill with love, Arjuna. Kill with love. How can you kill with love? I'm sorry, I'm going to kill you. Desperado is those who does harm, who intends harm, who means harm. So there are different layers of understanding this word desperado. The first layer is those who intend to do harm. The second layer of understanding is he is harming, but he is not aware. He is not aware of what? He is not aware of He is not aware of what? He is not aware of the consequences of the action. Now you being aware of the consequences of the action, what will you do? What will you do? What will you do? You will stop it before even before the action. that stopping is killing that stopping that action, that killing that action. Sometimes it means killing very rarely killing the person. Now Bhagavad Gita is a very exaggerated situation. The battlefield is a very exaggerated situation where it is actual killing also. But if you translate it into our everyday living, you will not get killing as a everyday situation. But nevertheless, the principle is the same. What is it? You need to You need to stop. He is calling it as sin. The whole discussion is because Arjuna used the word sin. Sin. And sin is a very big word to use. Sin is a very big word to use. Since he is using that word, he has to go into such a detailed elaboration of what sin is and what desperado is. Not being aware is no. Ignorance is not an. I didn't know this. All these will be the consequences of it. I didn't know. Life says, by paying the price, you will know. Like remember that example. Take the example that he always gives. He gives that example. There is a centipede. During the rainy seasons we see centipedes, no? 100 legs, comes in black color, comes in red color. Sometimes the children, what do? They'll catch hold of a centipede and smash it. They'll catch hold of the centipede and smash it. And the child is not aware of what it is, what the child is doing. He says, when you are riding a motorcycle at the age of 19, suddenly a ton of bricks will fall on your legs and your legs will get crushed. At our level, we will not know how to correlate the two. Those who have gone above life, those who can see it, they set the code of conduct. And what I should do first is to obey that. First I need to do is to obey that. Another example he gives, 2 examples, very powerful examples. I can actually relive his talk. These 2 examples. I can actually relive his talk. One is the centipede. Another example that Swamiji gives is nest. There is a nest. Small children going back from school. One child says, hey, nest. Another child takes a stone and hits. And the whole nest falls down. They kick. They play football with it and they reach home happily, dancing, laughing, smiling. Nothing happens. Ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. You can't say I am not aware. When you say you are not aware, not you, when anyone says I am not aware, it means they have flouted the very fundamental law of life. What is the very fundamental law of life? As a human being, you ought to know. As a human being, you ought to know. That's where the first development of intellect, at the age of 6, 7, this knowledge was taught first. This knowledge was taught first because it ought to be Because these are the laws that is making the life. These are the principles that is defining what life is. And this is not unheard. Not even, no. You follow what I am saying? Why the law is flouted is because all other species, there is a natural protection. Nature interferes at every point. Nature interferes. The zebras are attacked by the lionesses. Sometimes the zebra wins, sometimes it loses. And the little one is caught. The mother tries to fight and chase the lionesses away. Sometimes the mother wins, sometimes the mother. At that point of time, something happens. Nature interferes and connects and disconnects something. That's where the mother turns back, starts grazing. No mourning, no crying, no ceremonies, no nothing. Because nature interferes and disconnects something. Are you able to follow? Sometimes you can see it also. They will be watching the lion thing. And the lion is not eating the enemies. Yeah. The lion is eating its own child, and it doesn't feel. Nature interferes and disconnects. In the case of a human being, nature has said, you take care of yourself. Because why nature says you take care of yourself? Why nature says that? Why? You have that capacity. Why nature tells a human being you have to do it? Because only a human being is asking for freedom. Only a human being is asking for freedom. No other species asks for freedom. They continue to exist and they go away. A human being alone is asking for freedom. What you call as moksha. The Sanskrit word is moksha. The English word is, since you alone is asking for freedom, you need to. Since you are asking for freedom, nature says the equipment is given to you. What is that equipment? Intellect. அது சொல்றதுக்கே என் பயமா இல்ல. அட்லீஸ்ட் தியரி தானே, சும்மா சத்தமா சொல்லுங்க. I am shouting, no, as though I have understood everything. Intellect. அவ்வளவுதான். All the sufferings that a human being goes through is because he has flouted this fundamental. What is that fundamental law that he has flouted? Not bothering to develop that which he should have. As you are in the process of developing it, you need a protection. Just as the plant needs a fence as a protection. What is the protection? These smritis, these code of conduct are the protection. So you need to obey it first. Not that you have to become a slave to it. You need to obey it first. Because when the fence is there, the plant cannot say, why are you suffocating me? Why are you stifling me? Go away. Now the fence can be removed. When the fence is removed, what dies? The sapling dies. Are you able to follow? The sapling itself dies. Therefore, this code of conduct is very essential to mature you into freedom. Not understanding this, Arjuna used a very big word. Sin will come to us. If he had said sin will come to me, Krishna would have said that. He is saying sin will come to us. Krishna Kumar. Because only two are there in the conversation. No, Krishna and Arjuna. Desperado. This is the desperado. Yes, sir. You had something? Yeah. Definition of sin. Sin is the mental agitations. A state of mental disturbances is sin. When you are mentally disturbed, when you are mentally agitated, you are in, it is sin. Or, what is sin? Action that bounces back and causes mental agitations. That is sin. That is sin. That's the definition of sin. If you are not mentally agitated, at that point of time you are not committing sin. So sin means mental agitations. That's why it's called hell. I went through hell last week. Means what? Yeah. You didn't go to Yamaloka. You lived a state of mental agitations. I was in bliss. Gurvaram Vedanta Academy I went. I was in bliss. Maybe the opposite. I'm going to opposite. Yeah. I don't know. You follow what I am saying? The definition of sin is mental agitations. Mental agitations. That is sin. Why mental agitations is called as sin? Because you have moved away from your natural state. The natural state of the human being, the natural state of a human being is not to be in agitations. You have moved away from that moving away is sin. Because a human being is not designed to be mentally, he is designed to be compassionate, he is designed to be loving, he is designed to be affectionate, but he is not designed to be in agitations. Understand the difference? He is designed to be compassionate, he is designed to be loving, he is designed to be caring, he is designed to be all that, but not to be in agitation. So mental agitations is sin because it's a moving away from the natural state. That's why it's called as a sin. Otherwise, why mental agitations is defined as sin? Normally, sin means one set of actions. Normally, sin means one set of actions. Vedanta says it's not the action, it is it's a state of mental agitations. It's a state of mental disturbances. Why disturbances? Is because disturbance occurs when you move away from your natural state. What is the natural state of a human being? To be in poise. Equipoise. That's the word, no? Equipoise. Is to be that. Is to be balanced. Is to be balanced. Is to be balanced is a natural state of human being. Is to be balanced. Balanced because balanced in and through the situations. In and through all the situations that he encounters, he can retain his balance is the natural state of a human being, and this human being does the spiritual practices and attain enlightenment. Balanced knowledge, don't take it as an enlightened state. A very natural state of a human being is to be in balance. Is to be in balance. Balanced in terms of whatsoever the situation that you encounter, your balance doesn't change. If it is changed, that change produces mental agitations. That is called as sin. Is it okay? That is called as sin. Since it is difficult to understand, in the initial stages what people do, what these masters do, they give a code of, they classify certain actions as sinful actions, certain actions as actions that is not sinful. What is opposite of sin? Virtue. Some actions are classified as sinful actions, some actions are classified as virtuous action. And those lists do exist. Those lists do exist, because if those list is not there, anybody can do anything. That's not even being an animal. That is devilish. That's why Shastras doesn't say animalistic life, because animals don't live like that. Shastra says it's a devilish life. Live life like a Rakshasa, like a demon. Nowadays we started saying animalistic life. Shastras doesn't say animalistic life, because animals don't live life like that. Animals don't live life like that. So when these things are, it is needed, but that itself can turn into a slavery. If you don't outgrow them. The fence should not stunt the sapling. Fence is required, but at the same time, the fence should not stunt the growth. Now what has happened is, people say either no fence at all or stunted growth. Vedanta says use it and transcend that also. Use it and transcend. So when we are talking about the transcending part, Vedanta talks in the language of saying action per se is neither good or bad. There is no such thing as good action and bad action. That language will be spoken when we are talking about transcending that. When in the context of fence required, he says definitely these things are. So per se, is it right or wrong? Na? Per se you cannot call it as right or wrong. Fence is required. At the same time, the fence should not stunt the growth. No. Without fence, I will grow. No, it is not. It's not possible. But the very fence itself has turned into a slavery. The very fence itself has turned into a slavery to the fence. Therefore, you find every new master coming out with a new set of code of conduct. Are you able to follow now? That's where you find every master comes out with a new set of code of conduct, because that has become outdated. That has become the cause for slavery. That which was meant to liberate you itself is the primary cause for slavery. Some other master has to come and offset that. And then they think that master is contradicting with this master. He says master is not contradicting with this master. He is only saying instead of using the fence to grow, you have become a slave to it. You understand? So to that person at the sapling level, fence is required. For the person who wants to grow, we say outgrow the fence. So two contexts, and you need to understand in which context what is said. If you take from this context and apply it in some other context, it will look meaningless. That's where people come and say, sir, this Vedanta thing we don't agree, because how can you say actions are not per se good, bad? There are certain actions which is always bad. There are certain actions which is always good. Ever time hits Madhuri. Yeah. Ever time green, no? From the angle of the sapling, it is important. The fence. From the angle of sapling becoming depending on the fence, refusing to outgrow the fence. There are times where you become so dependent, so comfortable with it, they refuse to outgrow the fence. So in the context of making you to outgrow the fence, Vedanta says all this is in English. So it keeps talking both. It gets more confusing. First one solungo, clarity vandadukku apprama, why not we go to the next. Throughout Gita, Arjuna had this problem with Krishna. Not only Arjuna, every student will have a problem with the philosophy, because he kept on asking, tell me decisively. First thing he says, tell me decisively. First thing, tell me decisively that one thing. Two conditions he puts. First thing is, tell me. He says, Krishna, I don't understand what you are saying. Okay, at least you understand what you are talking, no? At least are you clear about it? If you yourself is not clear, na, avladhan. You understand? First thing, he says, tell me decisively. Second is, tell me decisively that tadekam vada nischitya, eka vada, one word tell me. And that one word you will not get. That's where you get very frustrated, you get very annoyed. Ivangalukku theriyalappa, adanaladhaan they are not saying, they are just using words, and that one word, that conclusion, that one word, you need to arrive it by yourself. And if you arrive it by yourself, it's authentic, it's real, it's original to you. That's why this exercise. If that one word is given, again it is borrowed. It will not make any. Again what will happen? The sapling will not outgrow the fence. Seriya?
Personalization வந்து நீங்க mind and putting conditions mention பண்ணீங்க.
Yes.
But normally like